It was 5 a.m. in the morning and Asher was meditating during his training. After Amelia said she would take the twins shopping, Sylvie told Asher to accompany them, which he wanted to refuse, but he knew his mother would not take no for an answer. This was her way of getting all four of them to get comfortable with each other. He decided to do his early training and get ready before the afternoon, when they would go out shopping. He was circulating and sensing his mana veins when he felt a different type of energy for a moment, but that feeling disappeared very quickly. He tried to sense it again, but he could not feel it again. System, do you know about the strange energy I just felt? Asher asked. Host needs to level up the system for this information, insufficient authority. He frowned but could not do anything about it. He decided to ignore it for now until he got a more clear hold on that energy. He would try by himself until he could ask the system about it. Sensing that it was time to end his training, he decided to go for a shower and dress up. He washed up, dried his damp hair, and changed his clothes for a casual outing. He came down to the living room and saw Nathan, who was chatting with Amelia. Nathan had just come out of his training in the morning. Arthur and Sylvie had already left due to their work. Grandpa, are you super strong? Livia asked with shining eyes. It seems after yesterday's discussion about their awakening, Arthur decided that the twins could also train with Nathan while he would train Asher. Of course, I am the strongest in the world. If someone troubles you, just tell me and I will deal with it, Nathan proudly said while laughing. Don't fall for it. Although grandfather is strong, there are 10 more people like him, Amelia tried to correct Nathan's lie. As if. And where is your little hamster who follows you? Nathan decided to tease Amelia a bit. He is not a hamster, and his name is Damien. Amelia shouted. Why don't you shout like that at your older brother? It seems young people only tend to bully weak old men nowadays, Nathan said while acting pitiful. Who said I cannot shout at him? And how are you a weak old man? Amelia spoke hurriedly. If she could, she would have pounced on Nathan by now, but she wanted to give a reliable older sister image to the twins. This was the reason Nathan was having fun teasing her. Don't lie. If he was in front of you, you would be hiding by now. Nathan scoffed at Amelia, contemporary romance. I am not afraid of him. Amelia told him while slightly raising her voice. It seems you have nothing to do except wasting your time chatting here. A cold voice was heard by Amelia, who immediately recognized it. Her heart started beating faster. She wanted to run out of the situation but her pride would not allow it. And no, I was just replying to grandfather, Amelia immediately tried to correct her statement. Okay, then get ready to go shopping, Asher said, having already noticed Nathan's little play, but he was in no mood to play along with it. What a grumpy brat, Nathan thought, disappointed that Asher was not willing to play along. If you're so free, why don't you help Dad with the guild's work? Asher replied with an indifferent face. Oh, I forgot about my training today. Kids, I'll see you later, as I need to train now, Nathan said, immediately disappearing from the couch. The twins were surprised by his actions and were also fascinated at the same time. Asher ignored it and told the three of them to follow him. They got in Asher's Rolls-Royce and Emmy was sitting in the front seat. Lucas was sitting beside Asher and Livia was sitting with Amelia in front of them. Do we really need clothes? I mean, the clothes we have now are very soft and enough, Livia asked Amelia. She found Amelia easy to talk to than Asher, who always maintained a cold face. Yes. Now that you are a part of our family, we also need your clothes for brother's birthday party as well, Amelia told her and also explained why it was important for them to have their own clothes. It was more of a status kind of thing. They were going to be introduced to the world at the party as if as kids, and if their appearance were lacking, others might assume that they could be easily bullied or harmed. That's why the timing of this news needed to be controlled. They arrived at Rizal Mall, which was the biggest mall in Soran. All of the branded accessories and clothes were present here. It was in the shape of a huge oval-looking building. Many people could be seen going in and out of this place. Their car stopped at the VIP parking lot, which was reserved for the rich only. They got out and looked at the marvelous sight of the building. Many stores and brands could be seen. The building consisted of 7 floors. The twins were looking around, seeing many attractions and things. Livia was very excited seeing all these things. Lucas was also looking at many shops. The twins were wearing some black sunglasses to hide their eye color. Even this trip to the mall had some purpose behind it. They could have easily called a designer at their estate, but they needed a little spark before the fire that would be announced at the party. They arrived at the topmost floor, which was reserved for VIPs only. Many rich families could be seen here. Every shop only consisted of their premium and most expensive products. Many people recognized Asher and Amelia as the siblings were famous in Soran, especially Asher. Look, isn't he the famous cold devil of the Greville? Many people started chatting among themselves. It seems the siblings also came for shopping today, one person talked among his group. Wow, he looks so dreamy. Several girls were fanboying over Asher. And even some young boys were admiring the looks of Amelia, but they didn't have the guts to say it. They knew that one slip of tongue and the wrath of the Greville family might fall upon them. Sigh, poor boys, ahem. But who are those kids with them? Many people were starting to notice the twins. But their eyes were covered, so they thought they were close relatives or friends of the Greville. Asher and the others arrived at the most expensive and premium-looking clothing store in all of Somalia, called Levawa. This store only made custom-tailored clothes for its limited clientele, which consisted of only highly influential families. This clothing brand was owned and named after the Levawa family, which, despite not being an elite family, was fairly rich and influential. Entering the store, a middle-aged lady came to greet Asher and Amelia. We welcome young Master Asher and young Mistress Amelia, as well as the esteemed guests who are with you, the lady said, already educated with the faces and names of the influential people. Although she did not recognize the twins, knowing they were with them, she greeted them with respect. Don't mind them, it's their secret outing and we would like to keep it that way, Asher spoke with his indifferent look. As you wish, what would you like to see? The lady asked, not inquiring about the twins' identities. We need some branded clothes for them and a suit for our upcoming party next week. Amelia decided to take charge from there. She was better than Asher at such things, so she decided to choose the clothes for the twins. The store was quite big and, because it only accepted limited clients, there were no other people. They could see various mannequins wearing luxurious and beautiful clothes. Lucas wasn't interested much in all this, but Livia was looking around with a smile on her face. Asher and Amelia were given some hologram tablets, which consisted of the catalog, to go through and see some samples. The lady called some assistants who took the measurements of Livia and Lucas. Lucas was a bit uncomfortable with others touching him, but decided to brace it. Amelia was already choosing the designs for the dresses and suits for the twins. After some selection and input from the twins about their favorite colors, they finally decided on a dress and a suit. Amelia and Asher already had their dresses and suits ready, and today's shopping was only for the twins. Though Amelia also decided to get some dresses for herself. After all the choosing was done, the lady sat on the couch, which was prepared for them. Do you have any suggestions you want to apply? She asked Amelia and Asher. I want you to design a tiara and crown for these two, Asher spoke. And I don't need to remind you. Choose the most expensive gems you have at the moment for it, he told her. This was the main reason for coming today. The gems that the Levaur family had could be called some of the most beautiful and most expensive ones. Their collection of gems was a source of jealousy for many people. Only the limited customers of the Levaur brand could purchase them. Young Master Asher, it would cost you around 2.7 billion or, excluding the cost of the making of the crown and the tiara, which would add up to around 3 billion or, the lady quickly calculated the cost. The twins were busy trying on some dresses, and if they could hear this amount, they might have fainted on the spot. Don't worry about the cost and get it ready with the dresses for those two, Asher spoke and got up from his seat. Emmy, get all the bills and necessary things done and make sure there is no delay in this, he told Emmy, who immediately went with the lady to get some things done. Amelia went back to try on some dresses. Didn't we buy too much there? Livia asked Amelia as they munched on snacks in the living room of their estate. Oh, it's not much. We might need to do more shopping when winter comes, anyway, Amelia replied. Lucas, who was listening to their conversation, was frightened. He was mentally exhausted from the countless trial runs he had gone through before Amelia decided on his clothing. He wanted to ask for help from Asher, but he saw Asher's indifferent gaze and decided not to. Amelia could never have fun with Asher, so she was super excited for sibling time with the twins. She had already decided to complete her bucket list, which could not be completed with Asher. It seems there were some tough times ahead for Lucas. As for Livia, she was completely fine with Amelia. The three of them kept chatting as Asher was not there. Outside the mansion, Asher could be seen discussing something with Emmy and Stephen, the head butler of the Greville family, contemporary romance. Stephen, send invites to the family heads on this list, Asher said, handing him the list of people he wanted invited to the party. His parents had given him the authority to manage the guest list as they did not want someone Asher found annoying at his own birthday party. As you wish, young master, Stephen replied, taking the list and adding it to the original list. Tell Dad and Mom that I want this party to have a separate section for adults and younger people, Asher said. Stephen nodded and went back. Stephen would usually follow Arthur, but due to the party, he was staying in the estate to manage everything. The party was in 4 days, and the invitations were going to be sent out. The announcement of the party had already been made, and every wealthy family was looking forward to receiving an invitation. Even the other elite families who wanted to get in good terms with the Greville family were looking forward to receiving an invitation. But this party was particularly important because it was Asher's 14th birthday, and he was the oldest and most likely heir candidate for the Greville family. His last big celebration was when he turned 5, and this was his 14th birthday. Asher would be busy at the academy when he turned 15, so his family decided to give the party on his 14th birthday. Usually, this party was to announce Asher as the heir of the family, like in his past life. Although he was not an awakened person, his family believed in his capabilities, so they decided to make him the heir, nevertheless. This made Amelia angry because she thought that despite being a lazy person, Asher was more favored than her. Although their parents decided Asher as the heir because he was capable of making mature decisions and had a strong business acumen despite his young age. But as the world only favored the strong, Amelia thought the same. She was a talented person, which was the reason she was joining the World Academy at the same time as Asher. But Arthur knew that Asher was more talented than her. Asher learned his basic sword training just by watching him move. He knew his son was highly talented, but his lack of interest was the reason he was behind Amelia. But Amelia, who was clouded by her emotions at the time, could not acknowledge this fact. This time, however, it was different. Amelia was surprised when she heard that Asher had started his mana training after she arrived. What? Brother decided to awaken himself. She sprang from the couch as this news baffled her. She subconsciously knew of Asher's terrifying talent, which was the reason she wanted a head start from him. Despite knowing about his talents, she never wanted to admit she was less talented than Asher. Seeing this much shocked her. If you tell her about his monstrous feat, she might die from the shock, Nathan laughed. Ads by Pub Future. What feat? Amelia questioned Arthur. Seeing his daughter, Arthur sighed and decided to tell her the truth. He broke the old man's record for awakening. His time was 5 hours and 12 minutes. Arthur told her everything, thinking he would not mind her knowing the truth. What? Amelia was shocked to her core. Although her own time was around 3 hours 27 minutes, which showcased her great talents. She was already known as one of the top talents of this generation. But because she had gone through awakening herself, she knew what kind of perseverance was needed on top of pure talent. She slumped back on the couch and had a grim expression. As it was early in the morning, the twins were still sleeping. Only Arthur, Sylvie, and Nathan were present there. Don't get sad now, you are also talented. Remember when I told you, your hard work will never betray you. Sylvie tried to comfort her daughter. She knew that her reaction would not be good. Learning that a person who neglected hard work, unlike you, will become more powerful just because his talent was unheard of. Yeah, you silly girl. That brat is so lazy he would not even pick up a sword if the world was peaceful. Nathan also tried to cheer her up. Asher was not lazy, he was just uninterested in everything. In his eyes, from the moment he was born, everything seemed more irritating to him for some reason as he grew up. To calm his thoughts down, he became indifferent and cold to everyone as his defense mechanism. Due to his unusually high intelligence from a young age, he understood that he was different from other people. And only by masking his inner self, he could live among his family. Yeah, what if he is more talented? I will work harder than him. And don't I also know that brother was always more talented than me, and honestly I expected him to be better than me at awakening. But seeing that he even broke Grandpa's record proves his worth. Amelia was not dumb to not know why her parents decided to tell her about Asher's awakening. She knew that Asher was the best candidate for the heir position of Greville family. And they continued chatting about Amelia's life at her academy to lighten the atmosphere. Asher was already done with all of his duties. It was around midnight and he was about to sleep, but he got a text, so he decided to check it out. He opened his Pixtagram account and saw his DMs. Less than pink, nature greater than your painting is ready. How do you want me to deliver it? Less than I am bored 20 greater than hum. Just send it to your nearest package delivery service. I will get it from there. Less than pink, nature greater than okay, I will send you the details of the delivery service near me. Less than pink, nature greater than contact.jpg. Less than pink, nature greater than if you don't like the painting, I can refund you anytime. Less than I am bored 20 greater than I am sure I will like it. Less than pink, nature greater than if you like it and want some more paintings drawn. Please contact me. Less than pink, nature greater than buy. Asher chuckled at the responses. And seeing that the account has gone offline, he decided to sleep for now. This night his inner mind was a bit calmer than other days. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Meanwhile, in a lavish-looking room, a blond man with a beard could be seen talking to someone on his phone. His room was full of expensive antiques, and on his desk, some documents could be seen. Father, I know that you want to have a good relationship with the Grevilles, but I will not go to such a rude person's party, a voice of a girl could be heard. Elena, I don't know why you consider that boy rude. I am already not forcing you for an engagement, but not even attending the party is something I cannot accept. I don't care about how you feel, Just attend this party and socialize a bit, then you can come back from there, the middle-aged man spoke. He was the family head of the Rothschild family, James Rothschild. Okay, Dad, but I will take Kevin with me, and you cannot say no to me, Elena clearly told her father about her intentions. Do whatever you want, just make sure that Whiteheart's boy doesn't do something embarrassing at the party. James sighed and gave in to Elena's demand. He cut the phone call and called his younger brother. Louis, go to Soren and attend the party of the Grevilles with Elena, and make sure she doesn't come under any harm, he said to his younger brother, Louis Rothschild. What? You want me to go on a bodyguard mission? I am an S-rank hunter, for God's sake, Louis spoke, showing his annoyed expression. Listening to him, James, who was an SS rank hunter, released his pressure and said, So, should I take your answer as a no? He asked. I will go, no need to get mad at me. Louis hurriedly left his room. I hope the rumors about that Asher Greville are not true, and if they are, investing in the Whiteheart family might not be as great an idea as before, he sighed and continued doing his work. Do we really have to go? Kevin asked Elena. They were staying in a private villa owned by the Rothschild family. Every elite family, and some rich families, had their own villa in Soren, as it was the location of the World Academy. Sigh, Kevin, now that the Whiteheart family is also a part of one of the elite families, you need to maintain your image more carefully from now on. Going to such events, whether we like it or not, is one of our duties as members of an elite family, Eva tried to explain. To Kevin, who was still against going to Asher's birthday party. Don't worry, Father told me that Uncle Louis will accompany us there, so we can leave after staying there for a while, Elena told Kevin. That guy is so arrogant for a person who has not even gone through his awakening yet, Kevin scoffed while talking about Asher. But his presence was scary for some reason, Eva thought in her mind. Let's forget about it. You know, we might be classmates when we enroll in the World Academy, so we should at least try to get along with him. Eva didn't want a conflict between Williams and Greville, so she wanted to use this party as a chance to smooth things over. Whatever, if that guy comes to the academy, I will show what my fists can do when there is no bodyguard around him, Kevin arrogantly said. Even though he might sound arrogant, he was considered one of the prodigies because he was close to breaking the record of Nathan Greville. His record was around 4 hours. This was one of the few reasons why Rothschild was aligned with the Whiteheart family. Elena also somewhat liked Kevin, so her father didn't mind the two youngsters spending time together, which would come in handy in the future. Eva was the childhood friend of Elena, so she also spent quite a lot of time with Kevin and they became friends pretty fast. Don't worry, I am actually planning something to help Amelia, but I wasn't sure whether to commit to my plans, but it seems fine now, Elena smiled and said to Kevin, who was confused about what she was planning. What are you planning, Elena? Eva asked her. It's a secret, Tilda. She spoke, then got out of the room they were in while being happy for some reason. Eva knew Elena was quite a vengeful person, and whenever she planned something like this, she wouldn't tell anyone. I hope she doesn't cause some huge ruckus at the party, Eva sighed and walked out of the living room with Kevin. Meanwhile, in the Mage Association Tower. So you are saying we should also send a person to show our appreciation towards the Greville family? A man who looked to be in his 50s asked the man in front of him. I mean, why not? You already know about him breaking the record of Nathaniel Greville, we might as well make a good impression on them. Edward Amaris, the Mage Association elder who helped Asher in his awakening, replied to the man seated in front of him. The man was the chairman of the Mage Association. One of the SSS rank hunters in this world, renowned for his magic and referred to by the title of Archmage. His name was Silvus Grandis, and he had silver hair with deep yellow amber eyes. Despite being such an important figure in this world, He did not belong to any family and had no relatives. He was an orphan who climbed up the ranks to become one of the most powerful people in this world. Due to him being a commoner, he did not like to mingle with the elite families much and his sole focus was on managing the Mage Association. Sigh. Although I don't like that musclehead swordsman, that doesn't mean his grandson would be like him. I hope not, but anyways, you can go to represent the Mage Association as this will not alert all the other powers because you already have a good relation with the Greville, Silvers told Edward his opinion. Ads by Pub Future. Only Edward could talk to Silvers this casually, because he was one of the people Silvers taught and nurtured himself. Although Silvers could be seen as a 50-year-old fit man, his actual age even surpassed Nathan by a few years, who was around 80 years old already. Due to their high ranks, humans could live longer, but unlike what you might think, mana did not help with the longevity of a person. It sure could allow you to perform miracles and look considerably younger than your age when stepped into adulthood, but life force never mingled with mana. Nobody knew why, despite being able to enrich their bodies with mana and even changing their anatomy, they could never free themselves from their mortal shackles. But despite that, a person with a high rank could live till 200 years old if they did not die. This world only consisted of humans, but there were records describing some other species known only to elite families and the association higher-ups. When the world first experienced a mana outbreak, the destruction of most of civilization was inevitable. But some records of the people from the past were handed down to the next generation and were never open to the public now. Only those in power knew about such records. I wonder why there's so many talented people in this generation alone. He sighed and closed his eyes to do his training. He couldn't help but think about the records that were passed down. Who knows what the future might entail for us? He continued his training, closing his inner thoughts. Emmy, retrieve the parcel from here before my birthday party. Use whatever means to get it before the party starts. Asher ordered Emmy to retrieve the painting he ordered. He wanted it as a gift for his birthday. As you wish, young master. Emmy nodded at his request and left him after getting the information needed. Contemporary romance. Ugh! Asher groaned and held his forehead. His surroundings were getting cold due to his bloodlust leaking out. Fortunately, he was in his secluded training chambers and Emmy had left, so nobody could sense it. Fuck, the symptoms are even worse than they were in my previous life. His indifferent face broke and a frown could be seen on his face. Till next year, hold on, till next year, he repeated to himself. He went back to do his mana training. He was practicing his mana manipulation. He needed more effort to fool Nathan about his bloodline when the time for his 2 weeks of training comes. Although the rank of his mana flow skill was not increasing because he was not utilizing the skill for his increase in manipulation. He would not increase his mana flow skill level until he got into the World Academy. His rank has broken into F rank and from here, simple mana training alone would not help him much. But he was not in a rush until his training with Nathan. He wanted to set a solid foundation which will increase his speed of increasing his rank in the future. When a person broke into a new rank around his mana core, a ring will be formed. This ring was how their rank was calculated. But multiple factors such as a person's mana pool, his innate talent, and his usage of skills with other factors would result in power disparity among the people in the same rank. This was the reason why a person's rank was not calculated only based on his mana core. Status: Fate Devourer System. Name: Asher von Raven Greville. Level: 7, EXP 0, 7000. Bloodline: Devil's Absorption Rank SSS. Blessing: Goddess of Time, sealed. Smiling face: Casual date is just a click away. Body constitution: Mana core rank A. Shop quests: Synthesis. Attributes: Strength 32 to 40. Agility 27 to 30. Endurance 40 to 45. Intelligence, 55. Mana, 45 to 60. Stamina, 40 to 47. Charm, 57 to 60. Fate, 3730. AP, 30. SP, 12. His attributes increased due to his increase in his rank. Except for intelligence, every stat had changed. He could feel his body was lighter and his mana pool had also increased. Doesn't seem too bad, Asher thought. He had already calmed his nerves down quite a bit. He continued doing his training after closing his status. In that way, 2 days passed and today was the day the party was going to happen. Many servants could be seen running around the place. Stephen, make sure there are no compromises in the security around the estate, Arthur ordered Stephen, who nodded at his request. Arthur did not go to work today and Sylvie was spending her time with Amelia and the twins. He was sitting in his office and was going through some documents. Knock, knock, come in, Arthur said. Young Master Asher has gone out without security and left a message that says he will return before the party. One of the servants conveyed the message to Arthur. Arthur dropped his pen and looked at the servant and said, "What? How did nobody notice him going out?" Arthur summoned Emmy and Stephen and asked them how Asher managed to slip past the security of the estate. Young Master told me to let him be alone in the training chambers and requested that I remove other servants from the vicinity, Emmy told him with her head held down. Where the hell has he gone? Arthur was looking at the message that Asher had left outside the training hall in his phone. He had gone out without security and without his phone as well. Usually, Arthur would not panic if Asher had just taken his phone with him as he could have had it tracked. This was the reason Asher left his phone as well. Tell the security team to search for him, but don't let other people know that Asher is missing, he ordered Stephen. Emmy, you go stay with Sylvie and tell her about this as well, he said, already having a headache considering if Asher somehow got late or missed this party, it would cause him unnecessary troubles, contemporary romance. I just hope he doesn't get into any trouble. He sat down on his seat and closed his eyes to calm his mind. Emmy left with Stephen, who ordered the shadow guards of the Greville family to search for Asher. They were trained hunters whose sole purpose was to guard the Greville family and follow the orders of the family head. Even Nathan could not command these guards to do something. Only Arthur, who sat as the successor of Nathan, had the authority to command them. They were people who were bound by a mana oath contract from a young age. These people were generally orphans with no backing, and only elite families and other high council seat holders were allowed to bound people with mana oaths. Mana oaths could be broken but the moment they will alert the other party. The moment one of these shadow guards will even have thoughts of betrayal about the Greville family, Arthur will know about the oath being broken. Slavery was not allowed in this world. No matter who you were and or how much power you held, if the world knew such person dabbled into slavery, they would face heavy criticism from the masses as well as other major powers. Hundreds of years ago when the first mana breakout happened, such things were common issues. So long ago the High Council was formed. This consisted of all the major power holders in the world who enacted certain rules and regulations for everyone to follow. Meanwhile, a young boy with a black hoodie hiding his face could be seen walking in a mountain range. This young boy was none other than Asher. He was walking along a forest path and arrived at a particular place and stopped. Ads by Pub Future. Seems like this was the place where the dungeon will appear in a month or two. Asher felt the mana in the surroundings of the place. He wanted to observe the phenomenon of dungeon gate forming. Nobody could do it in the world as who would know where a new dungeon would appear. He felt the mana around the place and found nothing odd with it. The mana is stable around here, so gate forming is not related to mana instability as I thought before. Although the real reason he came out of his estate was to calm his mind and let loose in some place. He knew if during the party his bloodlust came out, others, and even his parents might suspect something strange in him. Let's hunt some beasts. He took out a sword from his space ring. An A-rank sword he used when he had gone into the dungeon was still with him. Usually, you needed to return such weapons, but the officer there didn't dare ask Asher to give back the weapon as he technically owned everything of the Abyss Guild. Asher channeled his mana in his eyes and legs and quickly moved past many trees. Beasts here were not as strong as peak G rank monsters, but they could still kill a normal human. Although Asher wanted a tougher opponent, he could not enter a dungeon without others noticing him, and to calm his bloodlust, these beasts would do just fine for him. He saw a pack of 10 wolves sitting around and jumped in the middle of them. This move was basically suicidal, as who would jump in between 10 beasts, although they were not comparable to peak G rank wolves in the dungeon, but they were equivalent to mid G rank wolves. He immediately released his bloodlust, which froze the wolves as they jumped away from Asher. He carefully released his killing intent so as to not freak out the wolves too much. "Come on puppies, don't run now. Give me some fight," he said with his eyes showing shining crimson red. The wolves were cautious, but because Asher was the one who infiltrated their den, they were quite mad at him. 3 wolves jumped together at him. Seeing them jumping, he quickly backstepped and slashed 2 of them at the same time. His sword traveled in a wide U-path beheading the 2 beasts. Seeing 2 of their kin dead, all the wolves were glaring and making sound at him. Gurg, gurgur. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. 5 of them rushed at him from all directions. Seeing their charge, Asher stood still and waited for a second before using his mana in his legs to jump upwards. He was airborne, and seeing him that way, the wolves were waiting for him to come on the ground. He could not change his trajectory midair, and so the wolves only looked above waiting for him. Woo! He breathed out midair and rotated his body, making himself turn and slash 3 of the wolves. 2 of them died instantly and 1 was dripping blood all over the place. He used the force of his sword to shift his body to the left and land behind the 3 wolves which were left. He didn't waste any time and quickly dashed towards and killing the other wolves easily. He tried to use his bloodline on one of the dead wolves. No higher stat found, cannot absorb. TCH, so weak. He wiped the blood off his face and moved further into the forest. All the animals in this mountain range were around below mid-G rank, so he hunted many such beasts, taking their carcass into his space ring. Although he did not need them, but letting them rot here was not an option as well. He wanted no one to know about his presence in this forest. He had already carefully removed his traces while going out of the estate. Even the shadow guards would not be able to trace him back. This much will be enough for now. Asher was breathing roughly as he ran around a lot to hunt some beasts. He was soaked in blood from head to toe. He arrived at the lake near the forest and washed himself before going back in the city, as he would alert everybody walking with blood all over him. 2 hours more until they arrive at the fake trail I left behind, he thought as he dressed up in new clothes he had already stored in his ring before arriving here. He rested for a couple of minutes and meditated to recover his mana. After a 15-minute rest, he exited the forest and arrived at the city. He took a cab and stopped at T-Point Street somewhere in Soren. "I have 30 extra minutes." He looked at the time and there was still some time before the shadow guards would arrive here. Although they could find him quite quickly, doing it without causing a commotion and making others aware of Asher's disappearance was quite tough. He knew this and played his card right. His personality was antisocial, and he would use whatever excuse to distract Arthur from questioning him. But he was sure after today's party, his disappearance would be the least troubling issue to Arthur. "Young master, we need to take you back," Asher, who was sitting in a cafe drinking a coffee, heard a voice behind him. He saw 2 men with black hoodies and covered faces. Their sudden appearance alarmed other customers, but Asher knew who they were, so he was calm. There's still some time before the party. I will go there after finishing my coffee. He took a sip of his coffee calmly, and listening to him, the two men immediately disappeared from their locations. Other customers were startled by this, but nobody wanted trouble, so they did not voice it. Nice coffee, Asher said while slowly finishing his coffee. He had wasted so much time that it was already 7:30 p.m. in the evening. The shadow guards were also thinking about what to do because they would be late if he delayed it anymore. The coffee shop owner had already given him 5 cups of coffee. He was surprised by his appearance. Some people even tried to take his pictures, but the shadow guards always stopped them. Fortunately, Asher got up after finishing his 6th coffee. Was he even human, drinking 6 cups of coffee? He tipped the cafe owner, who was surprised to see the amount he tipped, but before he could thank him, Asher was already out of the cafe and left with his guards. He arrived at the estate, which was decorated everywhere. Their cars entered from another path, which was different from the path the guests would take. He exited his car and saw Arthur, who was wearing a white suit. "Why did you leave without the guards, my dear son?" Arthur smiled and asked him. Asher thought to himself, this will be annoying. "Dear son, could you please enlighten your father on where you went?" Arthur said, still smiling. He wanted to scold him so much, but if he did, Sylvie would probably eat him alive, saying, "How dare you scold him on his birthday party?" "I was feeling a bit irritated, so I wanted to roam around outside a bit," Asher said with an indifferent face. Asher obviously knew that he wouldn't get in much trouble for going outside without security, as Arthur would not question him anymore. "But you should have taken Emmy with you, at least," Arthur said, not wanting to restrict the freedom of his kids. However, because they were a powerful family, they obviously garnered hate from others. Asher could have been targeted by people if the news of him disappearing was leaked. "Let's not argue further. I need to dress for the occasion as well," Asher told him and, with a calm face, moved past him. Did his rebellious stage begin or what? Arthur wondered what to do with his son. "Asher, where were you?" Sylvie immediately appeared close to him as soon as she saw Asher from the living room. "Mom, I am fine. Can you let go of me?" Asher said while moving away from Sylvie's grip, who held him tightly and was checking if everything was fine with him. "But you still need to answer my question." Sylvie met Asher's eyes and demanded an answer. "I was just strolling around, refreshing my mind a bit. I wanted a moment alone, so I left the guards and went alone," he said with an indifferent face, showing no emotion, so even his lie was impossible to be spotted unless you somehow had means to detect a lie. "Can I go? I need to dress up as well." He looked at Sylvie, who was wearing a beautiful red dress. Coupled with red earrings, with her black hair and black eyes, she looked absolutely gorgeous. "Okay, my handsome son. I will not trouble you anymore, but don't do it again." Sylvie kissed Asher's forehead and let him go. Arthur was watching the scene between the mother and son pair with a stupid expression. "You spoil him too much," Arthur came close and told Sylvie. "I know, but I don't want him to feel caged, so my heart can't handle scolding him either," Sylvie told him as she looked at Asher, who was going up to his room. Asher arrived in front of his room and saw Emmy, who was walking back and forth in front of his room. She saw Asher and finally let out a breath of relief. Ads by Pub Future. "Young master." She arrived in front of Asher. "You need to get ready as soon as possible." Emmy urged Asher to get dressed up. Although the party would begin at midnight, but he needed to arrive early to greet the guests and socialize with them. "Calm down, Emmy. I will go take a shower and just get the suit sent to my room. I will get ready myself," Asher said to her with an indifferent face. He did not want to get dressed by others. He hated other people touching him, especially when his inner self was already that of an adult. And make sure the gift I told you to retrieve is delivered to me during my gift ceremony. As you wish, young master. But Amy wanted to say something, but she was cut off as Asher already entered his room. She sighed and gave in, and asked the maid to send the suit directly into the room. She also needed to check on the twins who were still not ready. Asher took a bath and put on his suit. He wore a black suit with a black shirt and a red tie. His whole outfit complemented his black hair and crimson red eyes. He looked extremely attractive in normal casual clothes, but wearing formal attire complemented his charm even more. Almost forgot this thing, Asher said as he took a pair of black gloves and put them on. He came down from his room and saw Lucas waiting for him. Apparently, Amelia and Livia were still getting ready, so they were late. Arthur and Sylvie had already gone to greet the guests who were coming. Every guest was from a rich family or represented an influential person. Nathan wasn't going to attend the party with the others. He would be drinking with more important guests, while Arthur greeted the rest with Sylvie. "Can I go with you?" Lucas hesitantly asked Asher. Asher looked at him with an indifferent face, which made Lucas think he would reject him. He walked past Lucas and stopped, then said, "Why are you still standing there? Follow me, or you can just stay here." Hearing him, Lucas' expression brightened and he immediately followed Asher like a duckling. They entered their cars to go to the spot in the estate where the party was going to be held. The estate was of 500 meters radius, and so they took a car to go to the villa where the party was being held. Greville had a separate villa for occasions and for their family use. This villa was even more beautiful and bigger than the family villa. It cost around 1 billion, or making the two villas Asher bought pale in comparison, but they, despite being smaller than this, had their own charm. This villa was made this big to accommodate various guests, and some of the rooms were even enhanced with soundproofing rooms, which was the room Nathan was staying in. It would work wonders suppressing his loud voice. Meanwhile, in a luxurious SUV, 3 people could be seen sitting and chatting together. "Elena, why don't you tell me what you will do at the party?" Eva asked Elena. "It's a surprise. Just wait and watch it," she said while swaying her head left and right happily. "Don't worry, Eva. I will protect her if any troublesome thing happens," Kevin said while shrugging his shoulder. "Just don't mess things up too badly, as this could even affect our whole families." Eva sighed and ignored the happy Elena. Louis Rothschild had already arrived at the party a bit earlier than them because he needed to arrive a bit early to show respect towards the Greville family. The youngsters were not bound by such traditions, so nobody minded them arriving a bit late. They reached the venue and saw several reporters who were flashing their cameras. Some media channels were invited and permitted to record outside the venue, but media was not allowed inside. They walked past the media while arranged security made sure their path was not blocked. "Look, it's the daughters of the Rothschild and Williams families," one of the reporters said while looking at the group of 3 young people. "Even the famous Kevin Whiteheart, who is rumored to be a prodigy-level talent, is accompanying her," the other reporter spoke. The group of 3 people walked past the reporters and arrived at the venue. It was around 10:30 p.m. They were greeted by a bunch of maids and they passed through them after they showed them their invites. Wow! Kevin looked around and saw many activities going on. Every guest had their own tables and a waiter assigned to them. A variety of cuisines could be seen being served. Famous artists were seen performing on the stage to keep the guests entertained. "Look, it's Elena Rothschild and Eva Williams." Many young boys started chatting up seeing the 2 beautiful girls. Elena was wearing a blue dress which complemented her blonde hair and blue eyes. And Eva was wearing a purple dress which looked cute coupled with her blue hair and black eyes. Eva usually wore glasses, so her no glasses look was refreshing for others to see. "Kya, It's the prodigy of the Whiteheart family, Kevin Whiteheart. Some of the girls were fanboying over Kevin. The trio obviously ignored others and sat together at their reserved chairs. As they were from elite families, their seating was more near to the artist stage, and two waiters were serving them together. At least the event is good, just the guy it's for is so annoying, Kevin spoke while sipping on the juice he was drinking from his glass. Hush, Kevin. Eva elbowed Kevin as many other people were keeping their attention on them, and being heard like this was not a good thing for their reputation. Whatever, even the people invited here are annoying. Kevin saw many young boys were stealing glances at Elena and Eva, which irritated him, and a frown appeared on his face which went unnoticed as he changed his expressions quickly. Let's just enjoy the party for now, shall we? Elena spoke and distracted the two of them. As they were talking, the music went on, and people were socializing with each other talking about recent events. Kevin just talked with Elena and Eva as they politely refused many people who came to join their seats. In the meantime, Asher joined Arthur, who was greeting other guests, and Sylvie was talking to a group of ladies, contemporary romance. Here comes young Master Greville, one of the men talking to Arthur greeted Asher. Lucas had already gone to the room he would stay in with Livia and Amelia until the announcement was made. Oh, Asher here, meet Mr. Wilsbergen. Arthur introduced every person in the group. Asher did not like to mingle with others, so he kept his greetings short. Everybody knew about his nature, so they did not feel too surprised by his demeanor. Still the same cold devil, huh? A voice came from a certain person, and everyone turned to watch who this person was. Many hours ago, at the Rothschild Villa in Soren. Uncle, you just need to cause some issues like you do everywhere. I will handle the rest, don't worry. Elena tried to reason with Louis, who was clearly disagreeing with her. Don't you know that if my brother heard that I helped you like that, my life would be in a very sweet danger, my lovely niece. Louis was clearly annoyed by Elena's plan. If you don't help me now, do not forget that I might just tell father about every ruckus you did behind his eyes, Elena said, giving him a look. As Elena usually attended many events with Louis, she had helped him many times by lying in front of James to save Louis. TCH, you and your father, both of you think of me as some accessory for your plans, Louis grumbled towards Elena's reply. Will you help me or not? Elena pressured him even more. Whatever, do what you want, but remember to not take things too far, okay? Louis made sure Elena would strictly follow the plan without testing her luck. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Everybody turned to see who was the brave soul to say such things in front of the Grevilles. They saw a handsome-looking blonde man who was holding a glass of wine and was wearing a royal blue suit. This man was none other than Louis Rothschild, the younger brother of James Rothschild, who was the head of the Rothschild family. Oh, now don't take it negatively, will you? He jokingly said to the group of people. Arthur looked at him with eyes and saw Louis shrugging his shoulders. Asher didn't react at all to Louis's comments. He indifferently looked at Louis for a moment, then ignored him. Whoa, don't glare at me like that. It was a compliment only. His sarcastic voice made people gulp their own saliva, sensing the tension in the air. Louis was walking on a thin line, speaking like this against the Greville family in their own estate. Don't worry, we don't take uncultured people's words to our hearts as it only causes you a headache to argue with them, Arthur voiced his opinion. Hearing this, Louis was irritated. He was known as the troublemaker of the Rothschild family who had a loose tongue and did not respect others much. Hearing such insults made him lose control, and he leaked some of his aura in slight anger. Who are you calling uncultured, Arthur Greville? Lewis's voice was cold and his aura made all the adults present turn their attention towards him. Ads by Pub Future. Sensing his aura, Arthur released his own SS rank aura and suppressed his presence, which made some weak people sigh in relief. Although Louis was not the opponent of Arthur, the Rothschild family was as powerful as the Greville. There were some factors that made Greville slightly more powerful than the Rothschild, but they were considered equal in the eyes of the masses. I wonder who that person might be. Arthur's usual carefree voice was absent. His expression was cold and he looked slightly like Asher in that moment. Now. Cool off, gentlemen. A different voice came and a man in his 50s entered the venue. Everybody was surprised after recognizing his identity. He was none other than Edward Amaris, the famous disciple of the Mage Association chairman and was greatly known for his exceptional control of magic. He is Edward Amaris, the elder of the Mage Association. Wait, isn't this the first time someone from the Mage Association has attended such events? Yeah, didn't the chairman of the Mage Association dislike all the elite families? But Edward Amaris had some friendly relations with the Greville. Maybe that's why. Many people started muttering amongst themselves. Seeing Edward, both Louis and Arthur took their auras back. Louis was also surprised to see a Mage Association elder, who was closely related to its chairman, came to such social events. Old man Edward, it's a surprise seeing you attend this event. Arthur ignored Louis's presence and went to greet Edward. They shook hands and Edward also talked with the other people in the group. Seeing so much commotion, Louis decided to step back and not cause any more trouble. He was only S rank and if he pushed his luck more, there was a lot of chance that Arthur's sword will find his neck soon. I have done as you asked, my dear niece, but I hope you can explain all this to my older brother as well. But it's not like I didn't try to stop you. So it's not my fault if you cause a mess here, Louis told himself as he walked away from the group. Louis was also glad that the infamous wife of Arthur was away. He was glad that he only had to argue with Arthur, who would only use his sword against him, but Sylvie was different. If she heard him, Rothschild would find it quite difficult to move around Somaria after this party. Lewis's reputation was very low as he was known for his low temper and untamable attitude. This made others avoid him and he sipped his drink alone after sitting at his reserved table. The adult section was different as every elite family had their own area reserved for them, although only some Rothschild sent someone as their representative to this party. Many high-rank hunters gathering in one area might cause issues. That's why most people usually avoided such events. The last happy occasion for the Greville where all the elite families attended was the wedding of Sylvie and Arthur, as this marked the alliance of Raven and the Greville. Asher also greeted Edward and Arthur, and Edward talked with each other. Almost everyone wanted to chat with Edward as he was quite a solitary person and meeting was a rare opportunity. But they didn't want to disturb their talks so they controlled their emotions. It's almost time for the gift ceremony, Arthur reminded Asher and left Edward to enjoy the party, contemporary romance. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. It was almost time for the cake cutting ceremony, and Amelia and the twins also arrived at the party. This was a joint event for adults and young people so they gathered in the beautiful garden area of the villa. People were confused seeing two kids with black glasses in the night standing with Amelia. The twins instantly noticed many people staring at them, but Amelia held their hands to calm their nerves. This was their first time standing like this in front of people, so it was natural for them to be nervous at such time. Many youngsters were awestruck seeing Amelia in her white dress. Even Kevin was surprised at seeing how beautiful Amelia looked. He wanted to talk to her but decided to wait until the event ended. As you all know, today my son Asher von Raven Greville turns 14, and this party is to celebrate his 14th birthday, Arthur said in his speech with Sylvie standing beside him. The sound of the clock hitting 12 a.m. in the midnight was heard, and many magical celebrations could be seen. Young people were surprised by such delicate preparation of this event. Happy birthday, Ash! Arthur and Sylvie wished Asher a happy birthday, which he thanked them with a calm face. The twins and Amelia also wished him. Although he was internally bored, his body language didn't show his inner thoughts. People started clapping and many people arrived to give him their gifts. Damien was also one of the people who arrived to wish him and give his gifts. Happy birthday, Ash! This is your gift from me. Damien gave him the key to a supercar, which had limited models. Some people recognized the key and were surprised by the gift. Asher had a hobby of collecting supercars, so this was going to be his second best gift in his mind. Many people arrived and gave him various artifacts, gems, and other expensive things. It was all a pretense to forge a healthy relationship with the Greville, so Asher just indifferently accepted them. Stephen immediately took the gifts and moved them so Asher could accept others as well. Monster Boy, this is one of the elixir treasures of rank S which will help you when you reach D rank soon in the future. Edward's voice was only audible to Asher and his parents who were close to him. Sylvie did not like the word monster, but ignored it as she knew Edward was one of the people who helped Asher with awakening and was in debt to Nathan for saving his life. Thank you, old man Edward. Asher showed his basic courtesy and accepted the gift. Other people were surprised seeing this gift which made their own gifts pale in comparison. Many girls also tried to talk to him while giving him their gifts, but they were only met by his indifferent gaze, so they gave up soon. At last, Elena and Louis, with Eva and Kevin, were seen coming towards Asher. Happy birthday to you. Elena's words could be considered rude, but Asher obviously ignored her and gave no reaction, which further angered Elena. Happy birthday to the young master Asher. Eva, and even Louis's greetings were normal, but Asher gave them the same treatment as Elena. Kevin was already annoyed at Asher, so he decided to greet him just like Elena, but he also forgot that Whiteheart was not the same as Rothschild, and Sylvie, who saw this, made a casual remark in her mind about the Whiteheart family. Asher smirked internally, sensing his mother's intention. Louis presented a gift to Asher as it was the tradition for all the guests who attended the event. Arthur's boy, this is a rare piece of defense artifact of rank A, hope you like it. People were surprised by such an expensive gift. Seeing people muttering among them made Elena make a smug expression in her mind. Although it might not be much, but this is a rare ice stone crystal from the Williams family, one of Eva's servants, which were allowed only for the elite families, passed the gift to Stephen, who held it. This ice stone would help the person use ice attribute magic more freely and was greatly beneficial for smithing as well. This rare stone was something only a few could afford to gift like this, and Williams were capable of doing this much. This is a red fire mana gem of rank A from the Whiteheart family. One of Kevin's servants handed over the gem. People were surprised by a rank A mana gem, which was quite expensive for even some of the people who attended there. Sensing other people's reaction, Kevin smiled internally in his mind. Of course, this is the might of the Whiteheart family, he spoke to himself. Handing his gift, he glanced at Amelia, who was standing beside Damien for a moment, and saw her excited to see her friends, which made him happy as well. So what was the best gift according to young Master Asher? One of the people spoke up. Asher stood up and looked at the 3 gifts he had just received, and looked towards Emmy, who nodded, seeing Asher looking at her. Meanwhile, in one of the secured rooms of the villa, a few people could be seen drinking and talking with each other. Suddenly, they felt the aura of an S-rank hunter, which was immediately followed by the aura of an SS rank hunter. Did something happen outside? One of the people spoke while putting his drink on the table. Haha, it seems the youngsters are having fun, Nathan spoke while drinking from his glass. If Sir Nathan is fine, Then it should not be a big issue. Seeing Nathan's nonchalant answer, they immediately let go of the matter. It was not because they were afraid of Nathan, although Nathan could kill everybody in the room in the blink of an eye, but they believed in him due to the fact that if a fight would happen, Nathan, being a SSS rank hunter, could stop it before they even took a step further. The people in the room were friends of Nathan who came to meet him after knowing that he was attending his grandson's birthday party. Many of these people held a considerable amount of power in the economy of Somalia. The group continued on talking among each other, ignoring the ruckus happening outside. Asterisk 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 asterisk. After the gift ceremony of a big family, it was a tradition to select the best gift. Everyone was looking forward to whose gift Asher would choose. I think he would choose the elixir, one of the women talked among the group of ladies. Young Master Kevin's gift is also worthy of being the best gift, one of the women beside her expressed her opinion. Rothschild are not lacking behind either, and don't forget the Williams are there as well. So which elite family would have the honor of the best gift? People started chatting as all the gifts were presented. Kevin also could hear praising his gift. Although he disliked Asher so far, but he needed to fulfill the wishes of his family, and this gift was indeed given for making favorable connections with the Greville as they were the most powerful elite family in Somalia. Emmy arrived soon after she left, and behind her was a maid who was holding a canvas-like structure which was covered with a black cloth. She took the canvas and came towards Asher. Everybody present there were confused by this new development. I appreciate all the gifts so far, but for the best gift tonight, I have chosen the most pleasing gift I have received. He took the black cloth off and the canvas revealed a painting. Everybody was confused by seeing the painting. Some were speculating it could be an expensive artist's painting, but nobody could recognize it. It depicted a far-stretched grassland on a sunny day where a tree stood in the center. Two cats could be seen napping under the shade of the tree. It gave a calm summertime feeling. Ads by Pub Future. This is by far the best gift I have received today, Asher announced. Seeing a painting of an unknown artist being more valuable than the gifts presented earlier offended quite a lot of people in the crowd, but nobody could dare voice their opinions. Haha, it seems like the Whitehart family lost to a painting, a young boy laughed among his group. Although he was immediately stopped by his parents, but Kevin, who heard his voice, could only hold his anger inside him. This was a social event, and he was representing his family here, and this meant he could only be on his best behavior, unlike the time when he tried to attack Asher at the airport. Listening to the young boy's remarks, many of his peers started giggling among each other. They were already jealous of Kevin, as he was rumored to be a prodigy and was surrounded by two of the most beautiful girls at the party. Although they could not confront him because of his status, they used Asher as a shield to insult and mock Kevin. It seems young Master Asher does not put our families in his eyes. Elena noticed Kevin being insulted, so she decided to carry out her plan. How is this painting worth more than our gifts? Are you trying to mock our families? Elena questioned Asher. You brought it upon yourself, she thought to herself. Seeing Kevin being ridiculed made her angry, and she was not going to sit around and watch Asher mock them. So what? Asher replied with an indifferent face. Why should I bother with your families? It's my party, and this is Soren Miss Rothschild. I guess you already know the consequences of what happens when somebody speaks carelessly in front of me, enough to not repeat the same mistakes again. Asher mocked Elena in front of everyone. Many people were shocked by the way Asher ridiculed one of the most powerful families in front of all these people. Elena's behavior could be considered rude, but Asher was plainly threatening her in front of everybody. Hearing this, Kevin forgot about saving the reputation of his family and was ready to return Asher's words and stepped forward, but he was stopped by Elena. I heard the grandson of the sword god was quite talented in his sword talent. You even learnt it just by watching the person demonstrate the moves to you, Elena spoke with a smirk on her face. What are you trying to imply, Elena? Amelia spoke to calm the two parties. She did not want them to argue with each other and wanted to stop the fire before it spread further. Stop. And what do you want with that information, Miss Rothschild? Asher stopped Amelia from speaking further. His cold gaze landed on Elena again. I mean, I heard about your talent and wanted to see if it was true or not. I wanted to have a friendly bout with you after the party. But, Elena was speaking, but Asher cut her off. Stop being annoying and tell me what you want. I don't have so much time to entertain your tantrums. Asher's indifference ignited even more anger inside Elena. Why don't we have hand-to-hand combat duel right here, right now? Elena challenged Asher. Elena, what are you doing? Eva tried to stop the fight. She did not think Elena would outright ask for a duel with Asher. As the news of Asher's awakening was not spread, everyone assumed Asher to be an unawakened person. Even Eva thought of Asher as an unawakened person. Don't worry, I would not use my mana against you, but if you are too afraid to fight me, I would not force you, Elena asked worriedly. Although inside she was smiling, thinking of how she would trap Asher into accepting the duel. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. Arthur and Sylvie were silent, they did not intervene slightly in this matter. They knew about Asher's strength, so they did not see a reason to stop this. This might be a good way for Asher to announce himself as an awakened person, Arthur thought to himself. Isn't it bad for him to fight an awakened person? Several people were muttering among themselves. No need, we can have this duel. Emmy, take this painting away from here, Asher agreed to Elena's challenge. Oh, it seems like you are quite confident in yourself, kid, but I hope the adults won't interfere in the duel of the youngsters. Louis looked at Arthur and spoke mockingly, contemporary romance. Mom, Dad, no need to interfere in the duel, Asher indifferently said and moved from his position. If the young people want to resolve it between themselves, then what could I say? Arthur obviously knew Asher's strength after his dungeon trip, so he was confident that Asher could beat Elena, who was known as a person following the path of a mage. Sylvie also did not speak against it. Amelia could do nothing now that her parents also agreed upon this. The twins were anxious as to why suddenly this blonde girl wanted to fight Asher. Lucas, especially, found Elena and Kevin quite annoying. Stephen, arrange for the duel to happen right now, Arthur signaled Stephen. The other guests couldn't follow what just happened. Just a couple of moments ago, they were celebrating, and now two people from elite families were going to have a duel. Eva could only sigh, watching her Elena, who went to get changed into her training suit as she already brought a nano armor suit for herself. Kevin was looking forward to seeing the beaten face of Asher already. He was confident that Elena would be able to beat Asher, who was known for disinterest in awakening in hand-to-hand combat. Emmy had already brought her nano suit bracelet, so she got ready quite quickly. Elena, don't go overboard, okay? Louis seriously told Elena as she was leaving the room given to her to change into the training suit. I know. I will only mock him in this duel. Winning is not my goal. I want to see how he will look after acting so cocky till now. It seemed that her anger for Asher had already turned into hate. She arrived, seeing a square area of 20 meters where she would have a mock battle with Asher. They could not use weapons. She saw Asher, who was still in his suit and did not change into a proper training armor. Are you backing out now? Elena mockingly asked Asher. Come here and fight. No need to run that mouth of yours so much. Asher stepped into the training area while other guests were spectating and guessing who the winner would be. Elena wanted to say something but she stopped. Alright. Let's see this arrogant attitude of yours when you face me. Elena also stepped into the ring. Louis stood on the other side of Asher behind Elena with Kevin and Eva. Arthur and Sylvie were already sitting on their seats. Most of the young children were excited to watch this duel. Adults were the same, although nobody was voicing it. They also wanted to know how good Asher was. Will he be fine? Damien asked Amelia, as he also didn't know about Asher's awakening like the others present here. Don't worry, Ash is strong enough to defeat her, Sylvie replied to Damien's question. Stephen stood in the middle of Asher and Elena, who were 15 meters away from each other. He stood and signaled the start of the mock battle. 3, 2, 1 start. Stephen disappeared from the duel field in an instant, due to him being a high-rank person as well. I will now teach you how to behave, Elena was speaking when suddenly Asher dashed towards her. Wait, he can use mana. One of the guests spoke loudly. People were shocked to see Asher, who used the mana in his legs to propel himself towards Elena. Asher instantly arrived in front of Elena, who did not have the proper stance yet. He immediately threw a punch in her stomach, levitating her above the ground. That's why I told you to shut that mouth of yours, Asher said, not even waiting for Elena to recover. Elena, who was in pain, gathered her mana in the last moment, which helped her negate most of the pain that passed through the training suit. This suit was only for training purposes, so its damage negation was low. What, this kid is already an awakened person. Louis was panicking at this moment. This was not the plan Elena had told her. For their plan to humiliate Asher, him being an unawakened person was an important key. Elena only wanted to exchange some moves and defeat Asher quickly. But she can still defeat him, Louis calmed herself, remembering that her niece was not called a genius for no reason. Elena stood up and ignored the slight pain in her guts. She took a proper stance and prepared to attack Asher. Asher stood still, coldly gazing at Elena. She dashed towards Asher and sidestepped just before she reached him and threw a punch at him. Asher saw through her feints and bent his body a bit backwards, dodging her attack. Asher immediately took the chance to rotate his whole body at this moment and kicked Elena, who flew away from Asher. Weak, Asher muttered to himself, looking down on Elena. How dare you, Elena, who stood up, was going to argue with him but Asher did not give her a chance. Asher threw multiple punches targeting every part of her arm. Elena kept blocking his attacks, but the pain was building up. Eventually, due to pain, she put her guard down for a moment and Asher did a roundhouse kick at Elena's jaw. Blood was dripping from Elena's nose. She was breathing heavily while standing up, struggling to move her hands to block the next attacks. Looking like this, everybody knew that Asher had won the mock battle. Many young people cheered for him, but some fans of Elena stayed quiet. Ads by Pub Future. Let me educate you on what happens when you run your mouth too much. Asher's voice shocked Louis, Kevin, and Eva, who were shocked as well. They were shocked to see Elena lose this badly. Asher did not care about whether the quest was completed or not, and at this moment, he only wanted to take care of the person standing in front of him more cruelly. Asher dashed, seeing which, Elena immediately panicked and closed her eyes and put her guard up. Asher did not care about her defense. He now channeled mana into his feet and punched and connected a kick to her face at the same time. The training armor could only negate so much damage, but Asher's aggressive attacks did not give enough time for Elena to recover her stance. Wait, why is he not stopping the duel? One of the kids who admired Elena asked his friends hurriedly. Yeah, didn't he already win this mock battle? Many people were confused as to why Stephen was not stopping the battle. Amelia, can you stop this duel? It's clear that Elena has lost already, Eva worriedly asked Amelia. Sorry. Stopping this duel is not in my hands anymore, Amelia told them as she gestured towards her parents who were indifferently watching the fight. But can't you at least try? Kevin shamelessly asked her, as he couldn't bear to watch Elena getting beaten up anymore. What? Why would she help you now when Elena herself didn't stop it when she tried to stop the duel from happening? Damien was shocked by Ash's power, but Kevin's request made him snap out of it. Kevin was about to say something but he is right. It was you guys who started this, and now only my parents can stop my brother. Other than them, I doubt he would listen to anyone else. Amelia didn't want to argue anymore. Seeing this, Eva and Kevin could only step back and hope that Asher wouldn't trample on Elena's pride anymore. But their belief that this was a friendly mock battle with only their pride on the line was shattered soon. Elena's breathing was rough, and her face was ragged with blood smeared all over her mouth. Asher had been targeting her shoulders after messing up her face. Only a minute had passed, and everyone present was silent. Asher got close to Elena, who could not hold her right hand up anymore. Asher's attack had made her right hand limp. He struck his elbow on her chin and immediately twisted his body, landing a kick on her face, making Elena's whole body twist in the air, and she fell to the ground on her face. Asher stomped his leg on her face, and before he could attack her face again. Stop this instant. Louis Rothschild flared all his rank S pressure, seeing Asher's true motive. He immediately targeted Asher, not even caring about the other low-rank people around him. Eva and Kevin also signaled their guards to go and intervene right now. Many high-ranked guards flared their mana and were ready to fight if the Greville tried to stop them. Contemporary romance. Don't you dare, Louis was shouting in anger when suddenly. Smiling face casual date is just a click away. Bam! An immense flood of pressure flooded the whole villa. Nobody could move except the Greville family and their servants, who somehow were fine. Louis and the other bodyguards fell to their knees, blood came out of their mouths. Then suddenly, a voice could be heard. It seems that the Greville are not feared anymore. Nathan appeared, and Louis looked up barely and saw who it was. What he saw made his face pale. Nathan, seeing everything had calmed down, took his pressure back. His pressure was like a flood coming through, eradicating everything in its path. Nathaniel von Greville, one of the guests who was aware of the faces of important people, shouted, seeing the appearance of Nathan. We greet the seat holder of Greville. Several voices were heard together. Seat holder was a special position. Nathan should have been the family head, but for some reason, Arthur was called the family head. Why was that? It was because Nathaniel von Greville was someone who represented the Greville in the High Council. Every person who was given the opportunity to be a part of the High Council was called a seat holder. Seat holder was a title of utmost authority, and because of being a seat holder, Nathan passed the family head title to Arthur. Kafka I greet the seat holder of the Greville. Louis felt weak under the gaze of Nathan. Rank SSS was not something anybody just by efforts and time could reach. People were born to be rank SSS. Some people still tried to break the barriers of SS rank despite that being their potential, but the wall they met was not something they could conquer. Kevin and Eva were seeing Nathan for the first time, although they knew who he was, but seeing him up close, they felt fear for the first time in their life. All their life being protected by their families made them forget that this was a strong eat the weak type world. It seems that the people have forgotten what we Greville are famous for. Nathan laughed and looked at Arthur, who smirked in response. Rothschild, was it? Even your seat holder doesn't dare fight me. Why are you, despite being a weakling, making so much noise in my house? Nathan's voice was like that of an emperor. His title of the Sword God was given to him by his peers, SSS rank hunters, not the masses. They knew what a monster Nathan was and nobody provoked him for one reason. The Greville family, although they may have seemed like a good family who cared for each other and treated their servants fairly, even going as far as to provide their family protection in their huge estate, in reality, they were the most feared family out of all the elite families. Although after Eva's heroic death and all these years of no one provoking the Greville family, people had forgotten their past, the path they had made out of the blood of their enemies. Bam! Everybody turned to see who was stupid enough to cause trouble now, and they saw Asher, who had just kicked Elena and made her back hit the barrier field of the dual space. Elena, who barely got up and had her hair in front of her face which was covered with her own blood, could only lift her left hand barely. Seeing Asher approaching her awakened her survival instinct. She broke the rules of the duel and used a low-tiered fire spell. Fireball, Elena muttered barely, and a ball materialized in front of her and shot forward at Asher. People subconsciously thought that the Greville family would stop the duel now, but nobody moved, nobody interfered with the duel. Even Sylvie didn't move to help Asher. Damien was worried about his friend, but the barrier would not allow him to step in and help Asher. Eva and Kevin were still in fear of Nathan, so they did not speak, but they were glad Elena broke the rule. Asher easily dodged the spell that came his way and slowly walked as he dodged the barrage of fireballs coming towards him. Stop! Don't come near me. Elena's previous princess attitude was now gone. The only thing she felt towards Asher was fear. She was almost out of mana now and, seeing the opportunity, Asher immediately closed the distance between them. He grabbed Elena's neck and lifted her up. Elena struggled as she tried to remove his grip from her neck. She could only use her left hand and tried to use her legs, but everything was useless. His grip was not budging, and this made Louis's face even paler. Please stop this duel, Louis shamefully held his head down and asked Asher directly. Looking at Louis, Asher dropped Elena's half-unconscious body to the side and turned towards him and said, "As I have said before, I don't like people who use their mouth too much." His cold gaze and indifferent voice chilled the spine of many people. Louis was burning with anger. All he wanted to do at that moment was kill Asher. Not only had he been unable to protect his niece, a 14-year-old girl, but Asher had humiliated him in front of so many people. Louis, known as a troublemaker of the Rothschild family and nicknamed the Untamed Beast, was now on his knees. "Get out of here," Asher said coldly to Louis. Louis was biting his teeth and controlling himself from attacking Asher. He knew that if he tried to harm Asher, Nathan would likely injure him, or worse, kill him. "Let's just leave," Eva said, barely maintaining her composure despite the chaotic situation. "We cannot leave like this. Look at Elena. We have to." Kevin began to speak, but, "Kevin, let's just leave," Eva shouted at him, making him shut his mouth. It was the first time she had ever yelled at him like that. "Guards, attend to Elena and heal any major injuries," Eva immediately signaled to her own guards, as everyone from the Rothschild family, including Louis, was unable to move under Nathan's pressure. Amelia could not bear to look at Elena's condition and decided to avert her eyes when Asher began attacking her. But the twins, Livia and Lucas, were fine. Even the adults at the party were shocked by Asher's cruelty, despite his young age. However, Livia and Lucas remained calm and watched the duel without looking away, unlike Amelia, contemporary romance. Lucas was used to seeing people commit murders and had even been badly beaten himself. Livia knew how many times he had returned to their small home with wounds all over his body. She would try to help Lucas by attending to his wounds, which was the only thing she could do before becoming bedridden due to her illness. Their rough life had changed their outlook on life. At that moment, they seemed more fitting for the name Greville, in comparison to Amelia. Asher looked at Eva's guards attending to the unconscious Elena. He removed his blood-stained gloves and threw them on the ground. He indifferently moved towards his family. Stephen, make sure our guests can find the right exit for them. Arthur stood up and spoke. Seeing his son stand up, Nathan immediately released the pressure, and everyone could finally breathe properly. The young boys who had admired Elena had been thinking of avenging her when Asher first punched her, but after seeing the whole thing play out, nobody was thinking of challenging Asher next. Kevin, who had wanted to challenge Asher, was stopped by Eva. Although he wanted to argue, he thought about his family and their reputation and decided not to challenge Asher yet. We have an announcement to make, so everybody please move on to the hall area. Arthur spoke and addressed the guests. Say my best regards to your families, Arthur spoke before leaving with Asher and the rest. We will, Eva spoke as she watched Louis, who was freed now, move out with female guards carrying Elena carefully. Kevin also followed behind him, leaving Eva alone there. Ads by Pub Future. As for the rest of the guests, the night is still young, so you guys should enjoy. Nathan laughed and disappeared from the place, going back to his own private room. The party kept going on, but Eva, Kevin, and Louis had already left. The media outside was not present there, so nobody captured the image of the injured Elena, but this news would be out for the world soon. This would surely be a shock for many people. Asher went to his changing room to change his suit, which had Elena's blood on it. He was already feeling less burdened mentally. He was actually glad he had gone hunting before the party, as it helped him control his bloodlust greatly today. He was sure that if he had fought Elena normally, she would have died there for sure. Ding! Less than quest completed greater than. Objective: make enemies with 3 elite families or hurt Elena Rothschild. Reward: 2000 fate points. Time limit: 1 week. Asher looked at his quest completion notification and changed into a new suit. He arrived in the hall, where the performances of various artists could be seen, but the mood of the party was somber. All those in attendance knew that a feud would be brewing between 2 elite families. Although Greville did not care about facing retaliation from their enemies, Rothschild also had a seat holder of their own. Asher entered the hall and caught the attention of everyone present. Arthur, who had been talking with Sylvie and Damien, greeted him. Everyone, I am glad you took the time to attend our party and I hope you have enjoyed it so far, Arthur said with a smile on his face. Though his inner battle freak was proud of his son, he would not show it to Asher to maintain his stoic image. His words caused many guests to cough as they were sipping their drinks. This party was probably the most chaotic one they had attended in their lives. Injuring a person from an elite family badly and carrying on like nothing had happened was something only the Greville could do. Many enemies who were waiting for their chance to attack the Greville would definitely take the chance to ally with the Rothschild now that they would be in bad terms with the Greville very soon. Although the mood has soured a bit, I have an important announcement to make, Arthur said as Stephen allowed some of the reporters who belonged to famous media channels into the hall. These people had been told to rest in the room they were given until they were called in, so they missed the chance to take proof of Elena's condition. Although they were happy to be given the chance to even record this much, some of the reporters were surprised at the management of the party, but they did not turn their cameras away from Arthur. We will now announce my son Asher as the official heir of the Greville family from this day onwards, Arthur said, and many people clapped in response. All of them knew Asher would probably become the heir now that he was also an awakened person, which denied the advantage Emilia had over him. Asher nodded his head. His official heir ceremony would happen at the age of 18 when he would become an adult. This was an announcement that confirmed that Asher now represented his entire family in every step he took. But we have one more piece of news, Arthur continued. As you all know, my little brother, the one hailed as a hero by the whole world, Ivor von Greville, died young without any successes. Arthur's words made many people remember the name of the deceased family member of the Greville family. Ivor's name was famous in the whole world, and even the young people knew who he was, as his tale was told in many academies to inspire young people. Lucas and Livia felt a strange emotion in their hearts that made them happy but was bitter for them at the same time. Even though they had never met their father, both of them held love in their hearts for their parents. Their mother had made sure that they knew what kind of man their father was, so growing up they did not grow to hate their own father. Recently we discovered that Ivor did have children, and they were recently found by us, Arthur said, gesturing for the twins to come forward. Lucas and Livia arrived in front of Arthur and removed their black glasses, revealing their crimson red eyes. What? The famous Ivor Greville had kids. I knew something was fishy about those two. But who is their mother? People were chatting, but Arthur's voice stopped their discussion. These two are the daughter and son of my brother Ivor, and now they will officially be a part of the Greville family. Arthur gestured for Sylvie to continue. Unfortunately, the mother of these two beautiful children is not alive anymore, and to respect her, we will not disclose her information to the public until the twins reach adulthood. Sylvie's statement ensured that the twins would have enough time to become strong enough to handle any negative reactions to their mother's identity as a commoner. So, can both of you introduce yourselves to all of our guests? Sylvie smiled at the twins while patting their heads. Hello, my name is Livia von Greville, and it's nice to meet you all, Livia said cutely, causing some women in the crowd to cheer. My name is Lucas von Greville, and I am her twin brother. Lucas kept his introduction short. From now on, our Greville family has 2 sons and 2 daughters. Arthur's authoritative voice made it clear that the twins were fully supported by the Greville family. Many people, including Edward Amaris, came up to congratulate and greet the twins. Livia cheerfully replied to everyone, but Lucas, who had been influenced by Ash's behavior, kept his interactions short with others. If I had known about it in advance, I would have brought some gifts for your kids as well, Edward said while warmly greeting the 2 children. The party suddenly gained its energy, and this made people forget about the duel that happened just now. Seeing everyone done with their greetings, Arthur reminded Sylvie about something, causing her to gather the attention of everyone present. We have prepared a small welcome gift for these adorable cuties, Sylvie said while signaling Stephen. Her statement made others curious, and the reporters, who were flabbergasted by the twins' identities, waited to find out what the gift was. Everyone present at the party was baffled by all the events that had happened until now. As all the invited guests were from a rich background, they knew that if their reaction to the twins were considered disrespectful by the Grevilles, their future would be rough. Although the Grevilles could not control how the whole world would react to the twins, they were powerful enough to make sure no one influential messed with them. Nathan came into the main hall with some of the big names of Somalia. Many people were surprised to see the old men who ran major industries in Somalia walking behind Nathan. They may not have looked as young as Nathan, but the power they held made many people respect them. It seems all the big shots are present except for the seat holders' families, one of the guests quietly talked among his group. The main hall was quite big as multiple events were going on. Everybody, meet my grandchildren. You have already met Asher and Amelia, but let me introduce them to you. Nathan's voice carried his pride as he introduced them. As a father, he was naturally sad when Ivor died, and his death made him spend most of his time exploring and clearing dungeons to soothe his frustration. Ivor's death made him realize many of his regrets and mistakes, and he was going to make sure none of his grandchildren, including the twins, went through them. This young boy is Lucas and this little cute girl is named Livia, Nathan said as the twins cutely shook hands with the group Nathan arrived with. These two carry the same eyes as Ivor did when he was young. One of the old fellows laughed as he met the twins, who were happy listening to it. Don't they? My brother always had that kind of gaze. Arthur also mingled with them as he also knew most of them. Arthur, we should start the ceremony now, Sylvie interrupted the group before their talks took off to no return. "Oh, I apologize. We should start," Arthur meekly said to Sylvie. The group of old men chuckled seeing him. Even the sword prodigy is afraid of his wife, it seems. The old man who commented on the twins' eyes said again. Listening to him, Arthur just shrugged his shoulders. Sylvie arrived at the center with a drink in her hand. Seeing her, all the guests who were busy talking or enjoying the event stopped and looked at her. "As you all know, they have missed our blood ceremony that happens when a Greville turns 5 years old," Sylvie said. The blood ceremony, unlike its name, was just a normal ceremony where a crown or tiara was presented on their 5th birthday. Lucas and Livia's birthday had already passed, so they needed to do the ceremony on Asher's birthday party. Ads by Pub Future. Although unfortunately Ivor and their mother are not here with us to present it to them, but we have decided that my father will do their crowning ceremony representing my brother. Arthur stepped beside Sylvie as he looked at Emmy, who was carrying 2 covered items on red cushion plates. Sylvie uncovered the items in Emmy's hand, revealing the beautiful pair of a crown and a tiara. The crown had a river blue gemstone embedded in it, and the tiara had a lava red gemstone embedded in it. The crown and tiara were made from platinum and had several beautiful engravings on it. Some of the engravings were runes, and small mana stones of similar color were placed on them as well. "Wow, they look so beautiful," the girl in the hall said, her eyes shining as she looked at them. "Aren't those gemstones and engravings the trademark of the Levaur family?" One of the women among the guests spoke. "I remember seeing the catalogue of the Levaur family, but these gems are not even available for sale," another woman replied. "Wow, as expected from the Greville family. Even the Levaur family gave them their exclusive gems." People were talking a lot about this because they knew that only a select few could actually buy from the Levaur family. For other rich people, they would go to their different branch companies, which were also quite famous. The young people also got excited listening to their talks as they also knew about the famous Levaur family. Nathan and the twins arrived at the stage. Many cameras were pointed at them, recording the whole ceremony. Arthur and Sylvie stood behind Nathan, holding a crown and tiara in their hands, respectively. Asher was sitting with Damien and Amelia at their own table. "Damn, Ash, how much did those 2 gems cost you?" Damien said, looking at him. "Around 3 billion or," Asher told him. "What?" Damien looked at Amelia, who confirmed it. "How many cars could we have bought with that? I bet even Lucas would have liked a car more than a crown." Damien looked sad. "This is a tradition, and we can buy him any car he wants. And don't forget Livia. She looked so happy when I chose the design for her," Amelia said, looking a bit angry as she argued with Damien, who quickly agreed with her to avoid any arguments. Even though Ivor is not in this world anymore, but his actions saved many, Nathan started speaking, which stopped Amelia, as everybody looked in his direction. "Smiling face casual date is just a click away. We may have found you a bit late, but here in the presence of all these people, I can say nobody in this world can look down on you. These crowns not only symbolize your status but your pride as a Greville as well." Nathan stopped as he took the crown and tiara and placed them on their heads. Lucas and Livia looked at Nathan as he stopped and saw many people clapping for them. Although they were not used to the crowd and standing on stage, they did not let their nervousness show on their faces. Many old men, and Edward, who was also interacting with them, also clapped. Asher, Amelia and Damien also stood up to congratulate the twins, and the party went on, contemporary romance. Meanwhile, in a mansion somewhere in Somalia, in a room that had bookshelves filled with different books, which looked like an office room, as many documents and papers could be seen on the table. An old-looking man, who seemed to be in his 60s, was reading a book. "Knock knock. Come in," the man said as a person wearing a butler uniform came in. His voice was authoritative, which depicted he was no simple man. "We have received news regarding young Master Asher," the butler said respectfully to the man. This man was none other than Alfred Raven, the father of Sylvie and the seat holder who represented the Raven family in the High Council. Although Raven's strength was a bit on the weaker side, the amount of information they held, due to their information guild, led to them having a seat in the High Council and earned them the respect and fear of many other families. Just like Sylvie, he had black hair and black eyes, but his presence was like that of a wise emperor, unlike Nathan who gave off the aura of a tyrant. He was a peak SS rank hunter. "Oh, now what did my grandchild do that made you come so late and disturb my reading time?" The old man looked up at his butler as he put his book down. Young Master Asher had a clash with Elena Rothschild and her friends, Eva Williams and Kevin Whiteheart. He had a duel with Elena Rothschild in which she was injured badly. Sir Nathan stopped Louis Rothschild a bit harshly when he tried to attack the young master who was beating his niece. The butler did not sugarcoat his words as he knew the man at the table did not like wasting his time on meaningless things. "Who started the fight?" he asked. It was Elena Rothschild who wanted a mock battle, and it seems that she was confident because nobody knew of the young master's awakening, his butler replied. "Then it was her fault, but just send a gift in the name of the Raven family to James Rothschild. Nathan can handle their seat holder. As for the Williams, they will not involve themselves in this matter, and Whiteheart are not a threat to us, so just ignore them," Alfred said as he took his book back in his hands. Although there might be some clashes as Rothschild are not weak, but James Rothschild, despite being young, has a good head on his shoulders. He will not make any wrong moves because of his stupid daughter. He stopped but then remembered something. "And don't tell Sylvie's mother about this for now. She is just like Sylvie. If she heard that Asher got hurt in any way, many headaches would come my way," he told his butler. "But master, she is the family head, and I need," the butler's nervous voice was stopped by Alfred. "Oh, I am not telling you not to tell her, but tell her later. I will make sure she doesn't kill you, so don't worry." Alfred smiled at his butler, who was already crying. In his mind, "Have a peaceful night, master." The butler bowed and left the room. "It seems that the next time I meet that kid, I need to teach him not to learn things from his musclehead grandfather and become more like me." Alfred continued reading his book.